They're just starting training camp, but here we are in October, and off we go on EA Sports. And they will elect to not bring this one out as our first drive will begin at the 25. They start the drive on the ground. Kamara. And this will be a gain of 5 as he gets it to the 30.
So this game here in London, the first of 5 games in the NFL International Series for 2022. We'll see the Giants and Packers here next week. Broncos and Jags at Wembley at the end of the month. The Seahawks and the Bucs, that'll be in November in Munich, Germany. First time a game's been held there. And then we wrap up down in Mexico City, November 21st. Cardinals and Niners from Estadio Azteca.
Ball on the 30. They'll come up with a 2nd and 5. They run it again with Kamara. 6 yards to pick up, and that's a first down.
The Saints had 2-1 now to start the campaign, and they moved back above 500 with a victory last week.
And you look at their start, a win, a loss, then a win. This might be something we see from them a lot this year, because when they're at their best, they can play with anybody. But bringing their best every week, that's been a challenge thus far.
Oh, hit as he throws there, incomplete.
That certainly appeared to be a play call where they were just trying to make second down, 2nd and short. I think they thought the coverage was off a little bit more than it was. Nice job there pressing up on it and forcing the incompletion.
On 2nd down, Kamara. And able to get this one across the 45 before he's brought down. 12 yards there, good for a Saints first down.
They did tell us they wanted to establish the ground game early, didn't they?
They did, in a small sample size that we've seen so far, but pretty good return.
Yeah, you got to like that. They've strung together a couple of first downs, established what they wanted, the running game. And guess what? They also got their lead guy running it pretty well, too.
So after the run by Kamara, now another 1st and 10. To throw is Hill. They'll set up the screen now to Kamara. And he'll lose yardage on the play back at the 45-yard line. Not what they had in mind there. That's going to go as a loss of 4. And they're getting him involved early.
You feel like they saw something on tape, or they just have a sense with him because he's had a good week of practice or something in that area that they want him involved. Just as you said, they want him to touch it either in the running game or the passing game, but they must like the matchups they're getting.
Play fake. Hill. Dancing to his left. All in all, no gain on the play, and it'll bring up 3rd.
But one of the things we talked about coming into this was that we were never going to question the fight that he's going to have for all 4 quarters of a game. But ideally, you want him fighting for big plays and first downs early, not fighting just to get back to the line of scrimmage, as we saw right there.
7th play of this drive coming up, but a long way to go on 3rd down. Now it's Hill. And that's going to be incomplete. The contact there enough to jar that ball free, and it brings up 4th down. Blake Gillikin on to punt now on 4th down. He was only asked to punt once in the victory last week as he sends this one away. Cousins and the Vikings with a 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Now the Georgia Southern man. This is Jerick McKinnon. And he stopped right at the 25 after a gain of 5.
Well, this defense for the Saints, they were very strong last week in the win over Carolina.
And as in any game, takeaways are always a big key. They're always discussed on defense. There's an emphasis there, and they came away with 3 interceptions in that game.
Here's a 2nd and 5 now from the 25. Here's Cousins. He's got a man, complete, 20. Touchdown, Vikings. Jalen Reagor, his first touchdown on the year.
And the Vikings get the upper hand as they're on the board first here this afternoon. They said that they wanted to get him involved early, and what a way to cap their opening drive, Charles. We know he's one of the fastest receivers in the NFL, and he showcased it on that play.
And when you have a guy like that, you want to make sure the defense sees him early, right? You want to see how they're going to adjust, how they're going to try and guard him, because they can't replicate his speed in practice unless they've got one of the few guys who are as fast as he is. And all it took was one drive. He burned them, and I don't think it's the last time they call his number in this one.
Following the touchdown, here's McLaughlin to kick off.
And there will not be a return here. It's a touchback, and it'll come out to the 25-yard line.
Now problems right out of the gate. We're going to get a delay.
So they accept the penalty, of course, and push the offense backwards a bit.
Play clock down to 0, and this is not the way to start a drive.
Now, the offense knew it. They were already starting to walk back as that one is accepted.
And now the Vikings are going to stop it here on defense with a timeout. They'll have 2 remaining as we step aside here in this first quarter. Successive penalties have them looking now at a 1st and 20. Back to throw. Hill. He's going to fire one deep, middle of the field.
That's into a crowd and intercepted. Picked off by Lewis Seen. And the Vikings are going to take possession of the football.
They set themselves behind the chains, trying to get it all back in one play, and it backfired.
Didn't it feel like a pitcher working his way into a 3-0 count, right? You're behind. What do your coaches always tell you? Get it back one pitch at a time. In this case, they tried to get it back right away, and it didn't work out.
They'll send a receiver here in motion right. Following the interception, Cousins. And he'll find Thielen on the right side.
And he's going to be taken down at about the 33. In need of only about the length of the football here on 2nd down.
Throwing, Cousins. He finds McKinnon, complete. And finally, down he goes as they work it inside the 10 to the 7. 25 yards that time.
And remember, this drive started off following the turnover, and they've taken no time working their way down the short field. A nice connection there, and now they're looking at a 1st and goal.
On 1st down now, run with McKinnon. And that'll move him a little closer as he takes it from the 7 down to the 4-yard line.
That's good power football on 1st and goal. A lot of teams will throw from there, but that's a nice job to chew up a few more yards and get yourself closer to the goal line.
2nd and goal from inside the 5. Throwing is Cousins. He's got his man. It's taken in for a Viking touchdown. Jerick McKinnon, his 2nd touchdown on the season.
And the Vikings are off to a 13-0 first quarter lead.
Extra point by McLaughlin is up and good. And that'll make the score 14-0. Following the touchdown, here's McLaughlin to kick off.
No run back here, down to a knee, and this drive will start at the 25.
The Saints offense on the field, ready to get their drive started.
Still in the first half, but this offense has struggled. Haven't really been able to get anything going, not only in the points category, but in the yards category. We'll see if they can do better here on this drive.
Just a yard on the pickup there, and it'll bring up a 2nd and 9.
That felt like a trap because it looked to me like the opposing front was on that play from the get-go. They had everyone crashing the ball carrier before he even made the line, and they hold him to just a yard.
The run only got a yard. Here's 2nd and 9. Steps away to his left. And they're able to get this one across the 35. The Saints 1st down there on a gain of 11. $14-0 the score. This is the NFL on EA Sports. Line of scrimmage, the 37 on 1st and 10. Off of play action, Hill. Buying time to his left. That's complete to his running back, Kamara.
Finding room at midfield. And they're able to work this across midfield to the 48.
And I like the idea here. Get the ball in his hands, even if it's in the passing game. 3 catches a week ago, and he does a nice job here to pick up yardage.
This offense finding its legs now. Here's another 1st and 10. They'll pound it up the middle with Kamara. And he'll get it down here to the 43. 5 yards is the tally on 1st down. That brings up 2nd and 5.
That's a really nice, tough run inside, and they gained 5 yards on it. And to be frank about it, most offenses don't expect to get 5 yards on a play call like that. So when they do, they go back to their huddle with a little pep in their steps. They're starting to think that they're starting to dominate the line of scrimmage.
They'll try a little trickery here on the end around. And he'll go out of bounds after taking it a little further down inside the 40. 7 yards there and a first down.
Anytime the offense shows what they call a shot play or a chunk play where they're trying to get big yardage, sometimes people just call it gadget plays, and you hold it to a gain that we just saw there, you feel pretty good about yourself as a defense.
On first down, it's Hill.
And that went too far in front. He couldn't reel it in. It's incomplete.
Offense was moving it a little bit, had them back on their heels, but they earned a brief pause by forcing the incompletion. That gives them a quick chance to regroup and try and mount a stand before they're backed up even further.
An incomplete pass on first down. That leads to a 2nd and 10. Now Hill. Flushed out right. And he will slide to a stop. He does have the first down. 17 yards on the pickup there, and the drive will continue.
So here's a 1st and 10 now, down inside the 20.
It's free. Hill fumbled it. And the Vikings pick up the football. And a big turnover there as his guys will get the football back.
And this is where you need the quarterback to morph into being a running back. The ball can't be away from his body. It can't be loose. It can't be held like he's going to throw it. Tuck it away. Take care of it because he's going to run through a lot of traffic.
And if he doesn't take care of it, we're going to see less designed runs like that. Here are the Vikings now to start their next drive.
It has been about as perfect of a start to this game as these guys could have asked for, Charles. They've scored on their first 2 drives. They still haven't given anything up on the other side of the ball, so they can already make this a 3-score game here if they can come away with points on this drive.
Yeah, they're almost pushing them to the brink, aren't they, partner?
Touchdown, Vikings!
Chris Godwin, an even 90 yards.
And the Vikings are able to strike quickly to add on to their lead. Extra point by McLaughlin is up and good. And that makes the score 21-0. Following the touchdown, here's McLaughlin to kick off. And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. The Saints offense on the field, ready to get their drive started.
Well, CD, you kind of feel like they're in a bit of a danger zone right here because now you're down 3 scores, and I know we're in the first half, but the way this offense hasn't been able to generate anything, you feel like they probably need to get something going on this drive, right?
Yeah, and sometimes I overuse that this is an important possession. But I think this has to be the possession where they come up with an answer because only a few teams in league history have ever come back from a 4-score deficit. And if they don't score here, that's what they could be facing the next time they get the ball.
And that'll fall incomplete. He was hit just as he let that go. And now it's 3rd down.
That was not a real confident throw right there, and he's just 2 of 7 to start the game. Now he's going to have to find a groove with a big 3rd down coming up. Let's see if his confidence can increase.
They'll get this out to Kamara.
And he'll be out of bounds, but able to get it up past the 45.
It'll be a Saints first down on a gain of 16 yards. Here's Hill. There's Chris Olave. And he'll be dropped at the 36. It's a good gain of 18 on a play that originated back at the 18. 2 minutes remaining in this first half of football. Coming up at halftime, I'll go from one personality, that's you, Charles Davis, to another one in Orlando, the coach. He'll have stats and scores from around the NFL. You and Jonathan Coachman, both larger than life.
No doubt about it.
But you're stuck with me in this booth,
yes,
and he's miles away and smiling.
And happy.
Tackle made by Eric Kendricks.
On any running play that's called, they're always hoping that it's going to break big and go the distance. But when you get a nice gain like that, you're able to do so many things anyway. You can come back and run essentially the same play again, continue to move the ball on the ground, or you can decide to throw the ball now because usually you have the defense back on its heels.
44 yards rushing for him now in the ball game. Play number 7 coming on this drive. It's 3rd and inches. They'll try to run for the first down with Hunt. It's a 9-yard gain, and it keeps the drive moving.
That's quite a spot there for his first carry of the game, but obviously they had plenty of faith in him, didn't they?
No question about it. And here, why not go with the fresh legs? Able to push forward, pick up that first. So from inside the 20, here's 1st and 10 at the 18. Hill now operating from the red zone. On a slant, complete to Michael Thomas. Touchdown! Michael Thomas, an 18-yard touchdown grab. And the Saints are on the board here in the final minute of the first half. Lutz good on the extra point, and they'll cut the lead to 21-7. Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes. And this will not be brought out. It's a touchback. Here are the Vikings now to start their next drive. Already enjoying a 2-score lead here late in the second quarter. Not a ton of time left. We'll see if they can work this at least into field goal range and try to get 3 to add on even more to their lead. Cousins on first down. That is caught. It's Chris Godwin. The 20. Touchdown, Vikings. Chris Godwin. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns here so far. And the Vikings will extend their lead in the final minute of the half. And we didn't even get a chance to settle in for that drive. A quick strike of 75 yards, and they find the end zone.
Don't you get the sense that film study was behind this one, that they saw something that they thought they could take advantage of? The key is calling it in the right situation, knowing when it exists to go to it. They did exactly that. They've got to feel really good about what they did in advance of this game.
Just looking down at the sideline now, their defense is like, man, can you have strung that out just a few plays? Give us a break. Back out there.
Hey, man, get that water break and get on out there and play.
The Saints offense on the field, ready to get their drive started. I don't think they need to be reminded of the situation here. I mean, the clock is dwindling. 3-score deficit waiting for them at halftime. Looking for Johnson, and it's intercepted. And the Vikings are going to take possession of the football. An unfortunate sequence there, trying to get points before intermission, but now the interception, and their opponents have a chance to possibly pad their lead.
Yeah, they had an opportunity there, and they weren't able to capitalize on it, and that's something that could come back and haunt them later. They're begging their defense now to keep them from scoring before the half ends.
In motion left goes a tight end. Play fake. Cousins. That's It's complete to his receiver, Godwin. And he's brought down, but not before a gain of 13, down to the 13. 1st and 10 in the red zone.
Let's just call it what it is. This has been a flat-out struggle for this defense all game long. They've really had a hard time slowing them down. And while I'm not big on speeches and guys jumping up and down, they might need their team leader on defense to get in their face right now and light a fire under these guys. They've got to start playing better assignment football and start getting guys on the ground.
So with 2 ticks left here in the half, on is the field goal unit. From the right hash, and this one just a chippy. And his kick is good. And that will do it for this first half. So we hit halftime with our visitors, the Vikings, taking the lead to the locker room. As it's time now to send you back stateside to Orlando, Florida, and check in with Jonathan Coachman and our EA Sports Halftime Report. Coach. As they say here in London, all to play for as we are back underway in the second half. Kene Nwangwu now out of his end zone. And this return will net positive as he gets past the 25 and up to the 27-yard line. Here are the Vikings now to start their next drive. Play action now. Cousins. Looking underneath, and he finds McKinnon. The drive starting with a first down, 11 yards on that pickup.
And while we may be looking at the scoreboard, this offense certainly is not, because they're showing no signs of backing down, even with a 3-score lead here in the third quarter. I think they keep taking their shots. They've seen blown leads happen throughout this league. They don't want to fall victim to it themselves.
So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38. Straight ahead they go with McKinnon. And he'll get what he can up the middle, 3 yards. That'll bring up second down.
The way things have gone in this one, the running game's been something of an afterthought, and that's not been too bad for them, has it?
Yeah, the offensive returns have been good, but I guess we figured he in the ground game would be a bit more involved. 3 yards on that last carry. Here's 2nd and 7. Cousins now. Flush to his right. Throw right side, taken in by Godwin. Finding room at midfield. And he has a big gain inside the 40 before being dropped. It's a first down, his 4th catch of the game after having 3 in the first half.
This offensive game plan has just been sensational. I mean, when you think about all the different ways they've gotten their receivers open so far, it's really been impressive. Scheme, design, execution.
There goes a deep ball, end zone. And it'll be incomplete. Good job staying with him defensively, and it'll bring up second down.
Finally, a good play there defensively on the deep ball. The secondary has had its struggles this entire game. Offensively, they've had their way with them.
Second down, McKinnon. They do get a couple, but they'll be left staring at a 3rd and 8 coming up.
Typically, we think it's the strong safeties that are better tacklers, especially closer to the line of scrimmage amidst traffic. But in this case, how about the free safety coming up and making the big-time play?
On 3rd down, Cousins. And this pass broken up. Excellent coverage there on 3rd down, as that was not an easy one to hold on to. To give you an idea of how accurate he's been throwing the football, we're in the second half. That's just his 2nd incompletion.
Well, if he's that locked in, that means everyone's locked in, because to me it's like throwing a no-hitter in baseball. The pitcher may get the credit, a lot of people making plays behind him in the field.